let's see Dr. Karyn Gordon now. Give her a big round of applause. I'll see you in a bit.
See you later. Bye. We're waving. I love this. I love slow cooker recipes.
Yeah, they're great.
I know.
Well, because they're easy.
So easy.
They're easy, and you can make a
easy.
lot. You know, batch cook, right?
Yes, and it smells so good when you walk in.
It does.
Oh,
it's so inviting.
So good.
So we have a great question that we got in from a viewer, Karyn, and that's what we're going to be using to talk about this segment. She says, my husband and I have been married less than 6 months, so it's new. We've been fighting because I feel he doesn't put enough effort into our marriage. He spends too much time with his friends or at the gym, just not enough time with me. I talk to him about a weekly date night. He feels once every 2 weeks is good enough. And I feel like he puts me second to everything else. So we're going to spend some time talking about boundaries in a marriage.
Yes. So there's different, so couples are going to go through different seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want everyone to do at home and here in the audience is kind of look at your relationship and ask yourself, which of these 3 options sound like you?
All right.
Okay, so we're all going to do our own little evaluation.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is what I call too close.
Uh-huh.
Okay, too close is basically where you literally are doing almost everything together. You have the same friends, you have the same hobbies, all of your extra time you're basically spending together. We see this happen specifically with teen relationships.
Oh, right.
Right, where they're kind of like codependent and they're basically spending all their time, and all of a sudden you're like, where's Susan? I don't see Susan anymore, because Susan's always with her boyfriend. So, you know, we see that a lot of times with teen relationships, but also in terms of like newlyweds, or kind of like in those new stages, because we're like just almost infatuated with the person.
Right.
So it's okay if it's like a season, but you want to kind of move off of that.
And there's a problem with that?
There's a problem with that
being too
because
close?
you kind of become almost one person.
Yeah.
You don't want to become one person.
No.
You want to become, you know, a healthy relationship is 2 healthy people that are coming together. Okay, so that's kind of option number 1. Option number 2 is actually too distant, which is actually, I think, with what she's talking about. Too distant is like you've got 2 people and you're literally strangers living in the same house. Sometimes you could be sleeping in separate rooms, but not even necessarily. You're not connecting, you're not talking, it's like 2 different people, kind of like you're more like roommates than lovers, right?
You don't do anything together.
You don't
have any hobbies together.
Yes, and you know what? I'll tell you, in certain stages, this really kind of pops itself out. It pops itself out when people are doing a lot of work. You know, when I did my doctorate, it was interesting. When I applied for my doctorate in the States, I actually had to have my husband, and I was a newlywed at the time, actually apply with me, because the divorce rate is so high for people who do doctorates in any kind of medicine, marriage and family therapy. The divorce rate is so high because when you're going into a doctor, it is intense.
Right.
And all of a sudden you are spending all of your extra time with other people, and so the divorce rate actually goes high.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that interesting? So they actually want to make sure that your spouse is actually going to be supportive of you actually going into that environment.
So did he go do a doctorate too?
No, but he actually feels like he did. Well, he's a chiropractor, but he actually decided he felt like he actually did his own program, because he ended, he was like editing and reading all of my things.
That's great.
But it's really important that when you're actually going into that kind of culture, that you are inviting your spouse
into
it.
So
yes, you have to, because otherwise they will feel very alienated and very alone. And you're getting so excited about the things that you're learning, and if they can't learn with you, so
they're left out.
They're left out. So so you want to make sure that you're not going to be going in that direction. And you can also tell when you have dinner parties. Actually, it's very interesting when you actually have, and we'll have like couples over to our house all the time. You can tell who's hanging out and who's not hanging out.
Right.
Because all of a sudden, if one person actually starts talking about a story, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that happened." Like, you can tell.
And it's their partner.
And it's
who
their
didn't
partner.
know that
Yes,
happened.
right.
Right.
When you're at a dinner party, you realize that they're learning stuff that they really probably shouldn't have found out privately. Right. Okay, so that's kind of like too distant. Yeah. So what you really want to do is you want to kind of have that middle where you have shared friends and you have your alone friends. And people are going to have different definitions. Last time I was on the show, we talked about introvert and extrovert.
Yes.
And extrovert, I'm an extrovert. I would be very happy to spend all my time with Brent. Like, I love hanging out with him.
Yeah.
He's an introvert. He's like, you know what? You haven't spent enough time with your girlfriends. Why don't you call some of your? You should go out. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, go. I'm so good. And it's like it's a total win-win, because I go out and I get my girl time, and he has his space.
Right.
That
is the best combo.
It's such a great
Leo
combo.
is a go too.
He's a go
You
too.
go.
Yeah, you go. I'm
Have
totally
fun.
good. I'm so good, right?
Yeah.
And then we come back and we're all actually recharged.
Yeah, and you also have something to talk about.
Exactly.
Because you were doing something and I was doing something. They were
Exactly.
different things. Now we can chat about something.
Now we can chat about something, and it's actually new. And so you want to have some things that are shared, some things that are actually separate.
Okay.
And same thing with friends.
Yeah.
Some friends that are shared, some friends that are just yours, and also hobbies. It's really good so that when you're coming together, you have something new to talk about. You have something new to kind of discuss.
Yeah.
And that will kind of keep your relationship kind of feeling vibrant. So with that girl that actually had emailed, I don't know what her relationship was like before, but doing it one date night every 2 weeks is not going to be enough. And to be honest, I have kind of mixed feelings about date nights. I think date nights are actually, they're good, but if that's the only time couples are connecting, that's a problem. I think you have to be constantly connecting, like every day connecting, whether it's like for 10 minutes.
Checking in. And having conversations beyond the to-do list.
Yes.
That's what we always have to be careful about, because if it's 9 o'clock at night and the kids are asleep and we're basically eating out of a jar of peanut butter and we only have 10 minutes before the hockey game starts, we're probably just going to go through the to-do list of what needs to happen tomorrow, who's got ballet, who's got the parent-teacher meeting, and we don't necessarily have the time to get into the nitty-gritty, which is where's my brain at, where's your brain at, how you feeling, what happened today. That stuff is so crucial.
It's so crucial, and otherwise you can become more like a business partner.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to kind of really be careful, and you have to figure out as a couple what is going to be your secret equation to stay connected.
How does she make her husband do that?
Well, the bigger picture is there's something that he's not getting from the relationship. That's what it tells me. Because he's basically like, no, I don't really want, once every 2 weeks is kind of all that I want to do. So to me, there's a much bigger issue than with what she's actually saying, that there's something that because he's obviously not looking forward to it. Even if he is an introvert, that's still not going to be enough time to actually have that kind of healthy amount of closeness. So I think that's a bigger issue. What is he not actually getting in the relationship? And if she can't figure it out, then maybe a counselor could actually help them facilitate that.
For sure. All right, great advice.